Hi, it's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and today I am making a Valentine's Day card. I'm going to use metal and I'm going to use embossed metal actually, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for joining me, and here comes the project. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind everybody that metal, even the thin metal, is very, very sharp. So please be careful when you're using it. I've already embossed the metal. It's very, very thin metal. And if I wanted it to hold its shape, I will fill it with, hard molding paste, extra heavy gel, something that will dry and stay hard. And so I'll just fill the back of it. Just spread it into that shape, and it will help hold that embossed image so that if I'm pressing on it, it's not going to press in. And so, of course, you would go off and let this dry. But I am impatient, so I'm doing this on one of these non-stick sheets. And so then, super simple, alcohol ink applicator, and you're just going to put some ink on the applicator and then color your metal. And if it's too dry, you can always add, there's an extender. And then you could mix colors if you like. And sometimes what I like to do is then go grab, and I probably want to switch. I usually keep a piece of felt that I need to glue this on. So I usually keep a piece of felt that's clean, but it's out of reach right now. So I'm just going to use the extender, and then I can go across the top and remove some of that ink. And I just go back and forth with this, adding ink, removing ink, until I get it to something that I like. And it's stuck down there because I have the molding paste there. So anyway, I'm going to let that dry. I will scan it in and attach it to a card so you can see the final project on my blog. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. And just one more tip. If you're having trouble getting the ink to come up with the big applicator, my design is very fine detailed. You can use a smaller applicator and do the same thing. Mine's now got too much ink on it. There we go. And the other thing that you can do is, if you've made this, I made this from an embossing plate, and I will show you how to do that in a different video, but it's actually made from a stencil, and so I could just put the stencil over it. Now I can't find my clean, and then just clean through the stencil, and that can help you get just the detailed of the embossing rather than all the ink around it. So anyway, thanks for joining me. See you next time. Hi, I'm back, and everything is dried. The gel, well, mostly dried. It's still a little tacky, but enough to dry enough that I can do this next step. So before I put this on a card base, the metal is very, very sharp. Even though it's thin, it is sharp, so I don't like to leave these raw edges. And so there's a couple of things that you can do. The first thing you can do is fold the back. And for that, I usually try to find something that's pretty straight to fold against so that you can do it. Actually, let me move it so you can actually see. So you basically line up so that the straight edge is going across, and then you can fold up. And then I use a bone folder to finish. Oops, missed that. Just be very careful. That edge is still very, is still very sharp. And so now this edge is smooth. And then you would go around. Sometimes I'll cut this little corner here if it's too much of a pain to fold over with that double thickness. I should use something thinner. But this metal's pretty thin, so usually you can get away without making that mitered corner. Okay, and you would just go all the way around, folding. So you get 4 nice edges, nice smooth edges. And so that was partly why I put that gel in the debossed part, because, you know, you're going to be futzing with it, and I didn't want this embossed image to smush. So that's one way of finishing it off. Again, you do 4 going all the way around. So another way that you could finish off the edges of the metal that are very sharp, I've already started to do this, is you can use a tape. In this case, I'm just using plain tape, but there's all kinds of cool tapes now. And you're just going to run it along the edge, but it's, you know, going to be half on the metal and then half off, because now we're going to fold this over, and then this over, and then this folds over to the back. And that way you get a nice clean edge all the way around. And so I just have to do that 4th side. But that's a nice alternative because you'll get a nice cool border, so you can contrast the border to whatever your project is. So there you go, 2 ways to finish off your metal project, and then you can attach it to your card or tag or whatever mixed media project you're working on, and you have a cool metal enhancement or embellishment. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Hi, I'm back, and I had one additional thought on finishing off the edge of your metal project. If you have a die cut machine, you know, a regular manual die cut machine, and this is just an example die. I have a really big die that I use to cut this that's just a bunch of squares. If you cut with the good side face down, as you cut the die, it will roll the edges ever so slightly, and so it will just get rid of that hard edge, and then you can just take your bone folder and kind of go along and help that roll stay, and just smooth it down, and then your edges won't be as sharp. And so it'll just be nicer for the person that you're giving it to, as I have said before, for finishing your metal projects. So anyway, that's another alternative for finishing off the edge before you attach it to your project. So once again, thanks for joining me. See you next time.